Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, Book Time with Elvis, with me, Mark, and I've got three special guests. We've got Greg from Another Bibliophile Reads, Jim from Mystery and Mayhem, and a rather mysterious guest that nobody knows called Dr. Zed. You can work out who it is. I'm sure it will take the brain power of Sherlock Holmes to work it out for sure.
After he's done cocaine.
Is he here for evil purposes?
That's it.
Oh, no.
So, gentlemen,
everybody.
the first week, I suppose, is over, and the prompt was to read a novel, and I think at least three of us did read the same book, didn't we? I don't think Dr. Zed read it. I'm not sure, but what did we think of The Sign of the Four, Greg?
As I said, it falls in the third of. I mean, I've read all the Holmes, and I would rank it in third place in my home books. But that said, I thoroughly enjoyed reading it. I mean, I got into it, and it shocks me every time when you read the I guess the first chapter, and you find out that Holmes is a cocaine addict.
Yeah, and it's just so nonchalant. I'm just debating whether to have a second shot of cocaine.
It is, and it was like the first time I read that, I was just like flabbergasted. It's like, what do you mean?
It's literally
He calls that the 2% solution.
7% solution.
7%.
I think it's literally in like the first
chapter.
Right out of the gate.
First pages.
Right?
It's also
right out of the gate. He's hitting it hard right out of the gate, Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Also in the Scandal of Bohemia. It's in there too. But I'm sorry.
So I said I think this is one of the first locked room mysteries too, or is it the first? I mean, it's not really a hugely complicated locked room mystery, but
I mean, it does say in the first paragraph, it launches straight into it. Actually, Sherlock Holmes took his bottle from the corner of the mantelpiece and his hypodermic syringe from its neat Morocco case. With his long, white, nervous fingers, he adjusted the delicate needle and rolled back his left shirt cuff. For some little time, his eyes rested thoughtfully upon the sinewy forearm and wrist, all dotted and scarred with innumerable puncture marks. Finally, he thrust the sharp point home, pressed down on the tiny piston, and sank back into the velvet-lined chair with a long sigh of satisfaction. Yeah.
Dr. Watson doesn't like it either. He doesn't like it at all that he's wasting his brilliant mind.
Well, Watson's a doctor, knows the consequences,
He does. It's curious that Doyle put that in that story.
Well, it speaks to Holmes' character, like his mind is a racing engine, and if he doesn't have something to occupy his mind, he has to do something to just
slow it down.
Slow it down, and that speaks a lot to his character.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not even just that, is it? Because Watson says to him, "Which is it today, morphine or cocaine?"
Yeah, my God.
Right.
See, the funny thing is, I can't. I mean, I've never been into drugs really, but I can understand from what I know of cocaine that it kind of I can see it activating his mind, but I can't see that necessarily with morphine. I mean, wouldn't morphine kind of really dull his mind and not really be as exciting? Yeah, I would say it would have the opposite effect.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, that's what he wants, though. I imagine he not to dull it, but he just wants to just quiet his thoughts. Maybe I don't know. I don't know much about it either, so I don't know what either one or the other does.
Oh, I do. I mean, I've never done like morphine or anything, but I know that a speedball is a mixture of cocaine and heroin. So like John Belushi died and others.
Yeah.
So you get like the dual effect, I guess, by doing that. So in this case, Holmes, like one day he needs a stimulant, another day he needs a,
Yeah. And it's funny, it was all legal back then,
Oh yeah, just go to your local chemist or
Yeah. They put it in Coca-Cola, for God's sake.
No
Yeah,
telling what he's figured out.
I think they were still giving things like cocaine in dentists even into the 50s, you know. So
yeah.
And then even
Weird.
in America, you could get codeine turpenthydrate when I was a kid. You could go, you'd have to sign for it.
Codeine, yeah.
Yeah,
They had pills. They had
Yeah, you mix it with Kool-Aid. That's what, like, the rappers still do that.
Yeah.
Lil Wayne, and yeah.
Yeah, so that's my thought. It's like it got me thinking. Okay, now next week I'm gonna be getting into some of the short stories, so I'm really excited about that one.
That's going to be good. So, Jim, what did you think on your numerous reread of The Sign of the Four?
Well, I really enjoyed it.
Guys, what camp are you guys in, by the way? Because it is The Sign of Four or The Sign of the Four, depending which editions you have. Do you have a preference? Or
well, my copy says The Sign of Four.
Yeah, The Sign of the.
You said it's Sign of the Four.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Mine's Sign of Four.
Really? In the complete editions, it says The Sign of Four.
Sign of
Really?
Mine says The Sign of Four.
The Sign of Four. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I'm no Sherlock Holmes because I've never noticed that before. But I loved this. I mean, but like Greg, it's the third in my favorite novels. But Hound of the Baskervilles is my favorite. Then Study in Scarlet. Then Sign of the Four. I mean, there's some great writing in there. I'm going to read you guys a passage from page 18, and this is Arthur Conan Doyle's, great writing. I mean, he's kind of underrated. It was a September evening and not yet 7 o'clock, but the day had been a dreary one, and a dense, drizzly fog lay low upon the great city. Mud-colored clouds drooped sadly over the muddy streets. Down the Strand, the lamps were but misty splotches of diffused light, which threw a feeble circular glimmer upon the slimy pavement. The yellow glare from the shop window streamed out into the steamy, vaporous air, and threw a murky, shifting radiance across the crowded thoroughfare. There was, to my mind, something eerie and ghost-like in the endless procession of faces which flitted across those narrow bars of light. Sad faces and glad, haggard, and merry. That's pretty good writing, right?
It is.
Sure is.
Yeah.
Hey, we got
There's Randy.
Hi, everybody. Sorry I'm late.
It's all right, mate. We're just discussing the sign of.
I thought I was 45 minutes early.
Just before we carry on and go back to you, Jim, with your thoughts, so we just have Andrew here with us saying hello, and he was reading The Hound of the Baskervilles. So, and Tom's weighed in on the Sign of Four or the Sign of the Four discussion there as well. So, yeah. But no, that's a lovely passage there, Jim, and it does show Conan Doyle's.
It's very vivid. You're there, and that's like, ooh, kind of a dirty. I don't know if it's
ghost-like.
Yeah. Doyle kind of he kind of toned down a style of writing for the Sherlock Holmes stories. It's not reminiscent of Victorian times because they tend to be flowery and You guys hear me?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I lost you there for a second. And his writing doesn't seem dated at all. I mean, I think that's why it still works to this day. He really toned down on a Victorian kind of style and almost created a new, more modern style of writing, I think, with the Sherlock Holmes stories.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And so, Dr. Zed, what did you read for the first part of this?
I was ignorant about the prompts. I'm always the last one of the party, it seems. So I'm like halfway through a Study in Scarlet. The Sign of Four, I remember it when you mentioned the opening. But I've been like going through the stories. At first, I took some from Jim's recommendations. Then Greg kind of took me back. So maybe you should start in order, and I agreed. So I started with the stories from the adventures of. So I'll catch up though.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. I mean, we only just randomly chose the Sign of Four, didn't we? Really, it wasn't like anyone had to read it.
No, it's any of the books.
My little story here, briefly, is I came into volume 2 from the free library last year before I even knew of this group, this read along. So it's got a bit of synchronicity, and I picked it up because I'm ignorant about Sherlock Holmes. So yeah, it's quite a treat.
Good.
Before we move on to Randy, just have a couple more comments here. The Mild Rumpus is here, one of the new members of the BookTube community. I don't know if anyone's checked out his channel yet. He must be one of the fastest growers I've ever seen, because I think I saw he had like one video and he already had like 400 subscribers. So he's
wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, well, I think he's got 3 or 4 now videos. I mean, but very quick.
I'll have to check it out.
And it reminds me, of course, we should all give our congratulations to Greg as well, by the way, on reaching 2,000 subscribers. That's amazing. Well done.
Wow.
Well
yeah,
done.
Awesome.
And Randy, you're not that far behind, though, are you? On getting to 1,000.
When I looked this morning, I was at 980, so I'm 20 away from 1,000. Once I get to 1,000, I feel like I've made it.
Trust me, you get to 1,000, and then you start thinking, wouldn't it be nice to get to 2,000? I mean, I'm 280 something away from 2,000, and I'm thinking, yeah, it would be nice. And then I'm sure Greg's thinking, 2,000 is great, but 3,000 would also be nice.
It's all the algorithm that pushes it. I mean, my channel is no better than yours, Mark, or anyone else here, but it's taken me almost 3 years to get to 2,000.
Yeah, but I started before you, Greg. So just a little bit. A couple of months.
Well, congratulations, though. Yeah.
It's like I said, eventually I'll be doing a video. It's like, but if I want to get a really popular channel, I need to stick to one genre. But I can't do that.
No. And plus, as we say, we do it mostly for ourselves, right? So we don't want to change what we read just to get more viewers. It would be terrible.
I actually, my wife pays more attention to the subscribers than I do the subscriber count.
At least she does. Whereas Greg, you would say your wife doesn't even watch you.
No, she doesn't watch it. It's like she goes out to play pickleball, and she doesn't want me watching her pickleball playing.
Well, probably half of Randy's subscribers are his ex-wives anyway. So,
well, there's a lot of that.
Yeah, he does live in Texas.
I have a lady friend, and I think I'd hit 750 subscribers, and we were at lunch one day, and I told her, I said, with 750 subscribers, I'm a legit social media influencer now. I said, you can tell people that you had lunch today with a sexy social media influencer. Man, she wasted no time at all. She said, yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. YouTuber.
Andrew says, I found the characters in Devonshire intriguing. The Barrymore, Stapletons, Old Franklin, and the mysterious LL. So it's going back to the Hound of the Baskervilles again. Now, of all of us here, Randy, you're the one who's undertaking the most mammoth of tasks, but by trying to go through the entire canon.
And it's been a little slow, yeah.
Have you got
so far? I'm almost finished with A Study in Scarlet, which has grown on me over the years. When I was much younger, I was really irritated about the second half of the book. And spoiler alert, and I don't know how much of a spoiler it is when something was published, in 1885. But, half of A Study in Scarlet is a Western set in Utah. So, I was like, when I was a teenager reading this, I was like, well, what the hell is this? Where's Sherlock Holmes and Watson, But now I think that might be my favorite part of the book. But also, of course, I'm a fan of BBC Sherlock, and I think a lot of people are. So yesterday, and like I say, I'm almost finished with A Study in Scarlet, but I watched the first episode of that series, A Study in Pink, and which I just thought was tremendously well done. And that came out in 2010. That was 14 years ago.
It's crazy.
Isn't that crazy?
A Study in Pink.
A Study in Pink, but yeah, it's great, and it's really surprisingly faithful to the original story. Once you get around the fact that it's right here in the 21st century, and they are going to do some changes. It's like, wait a minute, this is pretty close. Of course, then they spin certain things just to surprise the viewer, which I thought was really entertaining too. And I won't actually spoil that in case there's somebody watching who hasn't seen Sherlock yet.
I haven't.
Oh, there you go.
I think you might enjoy it.
I loved it until I didn't.
Yeah, I heard that the final two series were a little less well regarded than the first two series.
Well, after I watched, we watched The Abominable Bride, that episode where it's actually genuine, authentic show. Then I couldn't watch anymore after that.
That's the one that's actually set in Victorian times, yeah? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, you keep cutting out. I don't know if it's me or what's going on, but that's why I keep going to talk and I lose you guys. But yeah, it's I don't want to spoil.
Oh, shoot.
But we watched it at the theater and it was really good. And I said, okay, that's the way they should have. I wish I didn't watch more after that. And he's,
I don't know how well that's working.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
That's all right. What was I going to say? I was going to ask you something, Randy. Oh, no, Greg. I agree with you. I enjoy the Western half of the Study in Scarlet.
Because when I first read it, I guess my mid-20s or whatever, I knew nothing about Mormonism. I'd heard about Mormon, but it's just like this mysterious religion that you never heard of, you never really encountered before.
Oh, guys, I'm sorry. I got to run.
Okay.
Yeah. Apologies.
Sorry, Randy. Take care.
Yeah, Randy.
Yeah. Well, I'm looking forward to. Yeah, it's too bad about Randy, but I'm not finished with the half of the book, but I'm familiar with Mormonism. I lived in Phoenix, Arizona area, and all around it's Mesa is really well known for that. They have the vast Mormon temple there, a lot of genealogy in that. So yeah, I'm going to watch the movie and start, finish the story today easily. And
good.
Did any of you watch the? I mean, it was completely different, but the Elementary series with Johnny.
I watched like the first episode, and it kind of this wasn't my thing. So, but I hear it got really good. I hear it was a good show.
I really enjoyed it. I have to say, I really enjoyed it. I mean, they made. I don't know, Greg. Obviously, you wouldn't have seen it, but they made Dr. Watson a woman, played by Lucy Liu.
Oh yeah, I think I remember that.
Dr. Joan Watson. Yeah,
that was on TV over here, right?
Sorry,
was that on TV, Jim? In America?
Yeah. It was on I think I don't know, was it CBS or something originally?
They modernized it too?
I didn't know that was a pastiche or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, pretty much. I can't remember there being any.
That's the actress, Asian lady, right?
Yeah, Lucy Liu.
Lucy Liu, yeah.
Oh yeah, I like her. Yeah.
I don't know what you'd call that. You'd call it a reimagining, I guess. Not really a pastiche or a legacy, just a reimagining.
I don't know. I can't remember any of this. I mean, whereas Sherlock did try to modernize some of the stories, I think this one went off on its own. I don't think it had. I mean, basically, what happens is Sherlock is an English guy living in New York, and he's just come out of drug rehab because he's a druggie, and she's had some problem in her past, and she was a surgeon and she's given it up, and now she's like a live-in companion, and she gets assigned to go and by Sherlock Holmes's father to go and live there and keep him sober, and then she gets involved with his work. Yeah, it was all right. It was fun.
He was like a genius. I didn't know he was like Sherlock Holmes. I knew he was a genius character or whatever. Yeah, solved crime.
Yeah, it was quite good. Quite enjoyable. So of course most of it's with the New York, the NYPD as opposed to the Scotland Yard or whatever. But
and Lestrade's a character in that too, right?
He is. Yeah. He's is he Lestrade or is he's
or maybe not Lestrade. Like I said, I've only watched the one episode and it was like ages ago. But I thought Lestrade was the cop character. Maybe it was I think he was from the books.
Yeah, he is, but I don't think it's Lestrade though.
What's the other cop's name? Athelney Jones, Inspector Jones, or
yeah, I can't remember.
Yeah, but I'll have to give it a shot. I'll have to give it another go. I don't know if it's on a streaming service at all or not, but maybe I'll have to look for
Gregson, that was it. Gregson.
Oh, Gregson. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So, Andrew says he's a big fan of the Jeremy Brett interpretation. Yes. And I think that's wonderful as well. And they're all available on YouTube, so you can actually watch them.
Okay. Yeah, and they set the bar high, that series.
Yeah. Really did. So, yeah. And has anyone decided what stories they're going to read next week?
Well, let me go. I'll go on. Like I'm finished Sign of the Four. So like I was saying to you guys, I'm going to reread Hound of the Baskervilles.
Right.
And then I'm going to follow it up with Sherlock Holmes Was Wrong by Pierre Bayard. I've read this before. And this is, it totally debunks Sherlock Holmes' solution to the mystery. And there's a totally different antagonist by the end of this. But it also proposes the idea that Sherlock Holmes has stepped from the fictional world into our world in a very realistic way, and he's kind of the master of his own destiny. It's really, really a fascinating read. And if you're a fan of Holmes or Sherlock or the Hound of the Baskervilles, you got to read this book. So good.
Say master of his own domain.
Master. Well, I almost did. No. But it's very, very good book, and I've actually read that. I actually read this twice. I just finished it last night, and actually I'm going to follow it up with Hound of the Baskervilles. But again, I've read that multiple times.
I mean, is he the fictional character that has inspired like the most? Like, I mean, could he be almost like a genre on his own? When you think about how much is written about him, how many pastiches there are about him, how many parodies, how many, he's almost
become his own genre, hasn't he?
Yeah. I can't imagine anybody else has got so much. I mean, you could almost, I bet you could go to university and study Sherlock studies. There would be enough to occupy you.
Oh God!
If you had to ask a question, name a famous fictional character. I think there are two characters that would pop up, which would cover up 50, Sherlock Holmes and Dracula. Now, I'm thinking old turn. Now, if you ask the younger generations, I think you'd get something like Harry Potter or something like the Hunger Games girl or whatever she was, but I think you're right.
I would have said at another time that Tarzan would be included in that too.
Yeah, that'd be another good one. But I think Tarzan is on the shelf, kind of. It's not as popular as he was.
No, he's a little. The story's a little problematic now.
But I wonder, did they ever do a Holmes Tarzan mashup? Because you've got Holmes and the Cthulhu, you've got Holmes and Dracula, you've probably got a Holmes and Frankenstein's monster somewhere or whatever. Has there been a Holmes and Tarzan?
Yeah, Philip Jose Farmer did The Adventure of the Peerless Peer, where Tarzan and Sherlock Holmes and Watson and the Shadow were all in the same story. But then he ran into copyright issues, so they had to change the Tarzan character to Mowgli.
Uh-huh.
But then recently it's been changed back to Tarzan, I think, in reprints. So yeah.
We were talking about that in the Voxer group, I believe, or we were talking about Philip Jose Farmer in Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, I did one of my videos, I think the Wold Newton, build your own Wold Newton library, and I mentioned that.
I
Yeah.
didn't see that.
Yeah. And it's there's a whole thing. Apparently they're related. The character of Tarzan and Sherlock Holmes, they're related, they're cousins or something like that. And they're all the stories are interrelated. That's the fascinating thing about the whole Wold Newton universe idea. It's just fascinating, and you could build an entire library on those characters and stories, and talk about scholarly interest. I mean, yeah. Go ahead, Alan.
Video out. I'm going to check that out, Jim.
Oh, cool. Yeah, it's a good one. It was an early one, but I thought it was a good one. And the guy who created the Wold Newton, kind of came up with it, actually commented on it as well, which I thought was, wow, that was awesome. Win Scott Eckert.
So commented on your video.
Yeah.
That's brilliant.
I thought so.
You should have asked him if he wanted to be a guest.
You know what? I didn't even think of that. Maybe I'll do that. We have 3 more weeks to go.
There you go. He could be on the end.
Why not?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
I don't know what happened to Dr. Z. Did I blink?
Oh, when Randy showed up, I thought I'd just change it back to myself.
Yeah, but I didn't even see you do it. I must have been preoccupied.
Well, I hope I didn't chase Randy off with my ideas about Sherlock, the show.
No.
Yeah, that was it. He's like, that's it. I'm not speaking.
I'm out.
Here's my football. Here's my football. I go home.
Yeah. It was a good show. It was a good show.
A few comments here. We've got quite a few viewers, but I guess they're in for the listening probably more than the commenting. But Andrew said he's currently watching the Brett version on DVD. Bill's here. Hello, Bill.
Hi, Bill.
Hey, Bill.
And the Mild Ramper says Tarzan and Sherlock are related. Mind blown.
Yeah, you got it. Look into that. It's just you'll fall down the rabbit hole. Honestly, it's fascinating.
I mean, it is incredible, isn't it? Because I mean, you could pair him up with almost anybody. I mean, probably even if we try to think of people, it probably already exists, right? So there's probably a Holmes and Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, of course. Other Victorian characters. I don't know if there's a Holmes and Alan Quatermain though. Is there?
Oh, I almost bet there is. I don't have that on my shelf, I don't think, but guaranteed that's been done. I'm the one I'm reading for Pastiche puts them up against I forgot the name of the character now. Isn't that awful? But a cult detective that everybody was doing for a cult detective October.
Oh, the Jules de Grand?
No, it's not Thorndike. Why the hell? I've gone blank on it. But anyway, yeah, I mean, guaranteed if there's a character from that era that somebody has done, written a book where he's teamed up with Sherlock Holmes.
So if we go let's move a little bit away from that era, and I know it's putting some of you on the spot, but if we go for other fictional characters from books that we read, who would we like to see Sherlock Holmes teamed up with? I mean, it may already exist, but I'm wondering who you might like to see.
He's already teamed up with Batman in the comics.
Has he?
Yeah, well, Batman was inspired by Sherlock Holmes, so I mean, in a few of the comic adaptations.
Yeah, you mentioned it on a video, maybe, or on the Voxer. I heard this, I think.
Yeah.
My favorite crime fiction authors like James Lee Burke or Lawrence Block. Michael Connelly.
I would love it if somebody did a team up with Philip Marlowe and Sherlock Holmes. Maybe it's been done.
What about Sam Spade?
What's that?
What about Sam Spade?
Or Sam Spade? Yeah, maybe I should do that.
Sure.
How are you going to get Holmes? Well, I guess Holmes could be alive during that era. He'd just be an old man by then.
Apparently, there's a bee extract that's extended his life. He's researched on the Sussex Downs. He studies the bees, and he's figured out some kind of bee extract where he can extend his life for a period of time. So he could even be alive now, as far as we know.
Slow down a little bit.
Oh,
I did. Actually, Mark did this one too. The Michael Chabon book when he was in World War II, was it early 90s or mid 90s?
He was in his early 90s. Yeah.
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 You guys mentioned that thank you.
Well,
You mentioned that in another video, and I might have read that, but I don't recall if I've read that. I might have that somewhere, but I'll have to look for it.
I'm pretty sure it was one on Randy's really long list. I think he had it as one of his books to read this month. The Parrot book, Alan, you remember?
Parrot, yeah.
Oh.
Well, what about you, Greg? Is there anyone you would like to see him teamed up with?
I mean, it's not a mystery, but I would love to see him meet up with the judge from Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian.
Oh boy! Really?
You know that book, Mark?
Yes, I do. Yeah, I forget his name. Judge.
He doesn't have a name. He's just the judge.
He's just the judge. He's all bald and hairless and like
all hairless and white and
cruel.
You're not sure if he's human or what. It just.
I DNF that book. I have to try it again. Give it another shot.
Parrot, but we're reading this sometime this year, right?
We are, yeah. We will read that.
We're doing that April or March.
April would be better for me if that's all right with you guys.
Okay.
What have we got here? Tom's got a good one. I'm totally down with this one. Sherlock Holmes and Charlie Chan. Would love that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Love Charlie Chan. That would be pretty cool. And then, actually, I think you were talking about Cormac McCarthy's Blood Meridian the other day, Mild Rumpus. I think I saw it on one of your videos. No, it's wonderful. I mean, there could just be so many interesting people that he could be teamed up with. Yeah. Yeah, I think that could be a good topic to think more on. Actually, who we would like to see.
Well, that would be like a graduate student thesis or something. How many characters has Sherlock Holmes actually met up with?
Oh God, that was yeah. I've got a Sherlock Holmes bibliography, but it ended in like 1974 or 73. Then there's been thousands since then. I couldn't even imagine, that kind of rabbit hole you'd fall into.
Yeah, Lou would like to see Sherlock Holmes with Hercule Poirot. That would be great. And of course, we've got 15 people watching, so let us know in the comments who you would like to see either Sherlock Holmes go up against or be teamed up with in some kind of mystery. Because I'm just thinking with relation to the things I've read recently, like War and Peace, whether Sherlock Holmes could have been teamed up with anybody like that from that book would be kind of fun. Or from Les Miserables, actually, you could have Sherlock Holmes go up against the evil policeman in that book, whose name's escapes me.
That would be interesting.
No, I know it's Jean Valjean's the hero. I've never read the book, but
it's Vidocq who it's based on, I think, but I can't remember. Policeman in Les Mis. Javert, Inspector Javert.
Yeah. He's gone up against Fu Manchu, by the way. Sherlock Holmes and Fu Manchu,
Yeah. Okay.
In more than one, actually.
Along those lines, what about Sherlock and Houdini?
Yeah, that could be kind of good.
He has. I have one on my shelf somewhere, I think, where he teamed up with Houdini.
Really?
Wow. Dan Simmons wrote a book with Sherlock Holmes, and I think it's Houdini.
Well, no, I need to read that. I love Dan Simmons.
That seems like a natural team up because Arthur Conan Doyle and Houdini were friends in real life, so that just seems natural. Yeah,
could do. Aaron Facer says Sherlock versus Napoleon could be a good one.
Hey Aaron.
I think I would like to see. I'd like to see just for my own gratification. I'd love to see Sherlock Holmes join the 3 men in a boat on a trip down the Thames.
Wait a second. Sherlock Holmes and Flashman.
Flashman.
Oh, yeah. Sherlock Holmes and Flashman. That would be brilliant.
See, this kind of thing has been going on since when Doyle was still alive, like team ups like this with Sherlock Holmes, and it's such a great thing to talk about and conjecture about.
Now, did Doyle get upset when people started using his character? I mean, I know there's some instances with Maurice Lapin, whatever.
Yeah, I was just getting that because they had to change it, but then now, of course, they've just brought it back. Maurice LeBlanc, Arsène Lupin versus Sherlock Holmes. Yeah.
I'll have to pick that one up.
But it was Sherlock Holmes, wasn't it?
Sherlock Holmes. That's what I have on my Kindle.
You are back. More tea.
I think there were a few kind of issues around going around, but of course, in those days, it was harder and harder to enforce it. I guess the further away and wherever things. Where things took place. So
copyrights, they had to fight hard against that because Charles Dickens went through that too with his books, especially over in the States. Yeah, crazy.
Well, there's a funny in his notes from America by Oscar Wilde. There's a funny instance where he's I can't remember if he's in New York but he's getting on a train, and they're like these kind of, I don't know, I guess similar to like newspaper boys, but they sell like reading material for the train journey, and comes up and tries to sell him some of his own work that he's obviously pirated, and then he launches off into a little tirade about it. But it's well worth reading his notes from America. Brilliant, actually. Really,
is that really Dickens notes from America, or it's the Oscar Wilde's notes?
Oscar Wilde's.
Yeah, I would like to read that.
That'd be fun to read. Yeah.
Yeah, he does a really funny bit where he visits some tavern in the South, or maybe it's in Texas. I can't remember exactly where there's been like some kind of hanging or something just before he got there, and there's like a notice about something about pianists being shot and things. And he just has a great time having fun with all this kind of stuff. So.
Yeah, I knew Wilde had toured America. That was in the movie. That was in
Mark Twain did that too, where he wrote his stories about his travels with his brother through America.
Yeah, Roughing It.
Yeah, Roughing It. Yeah. Yeah, and he's got a good outlook on things. Mark Twain. I love Mark Twain.
Yeah, me too.
It seemed to be a thing for British, because Robert Louis Stevenson. I've got some letters of Robert Louis Stevenson, and he did a train ride through the States. But his weren't as entertaining because he was sick the whole time on the train ride.
I read a novelization about him, and he was just deadly ill.
Yeah,
till he got out west.
I just had to look it up, and I found what he says. Yeah, he says, they afterwards took me to a dancing saloon where I saw the only rational method of art criticism I have ever come across. Over the piano was printed a notice: please do not shoot the pianist. He's doing his best.
Yeah, I know there's several rock albums titled after that too.
Don't shoot the piano player. Which if they had to make a note, that happened.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Yeah,
it did. We've got Andrew saying Sherlock Holmes versus Mata Hari.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah, it'd be good fun.
Versus or team up? Maybe a team up.
Yeah, true.
Could be.
Yeah. She could be the next Irene Adler.
See, that's the interesting thing with it, is just when it's become, it's so big that even characters who really are not big characters remain so much in public consciousness. I mean, even Moriarty, for example.
Really. One story.
Yeah.
He considered the main villain.
That's what this book deals with, is they just become so big that Arthur Conan Doyle couldn't control the character anymore. He killed him off, and he couldn't keep him dead because it just was out of his hands at that point. Like the characters become real. They become more real than people who actually walked the earth back in the day, because it's like a global consciousness. I mean, we're all aware of these characters, and they just become, part of the real world. And like you said, Moriarty was in one freaking story, and look, how big that character is, Moriarty.
Professor Moriarty, right?
Yeah. But he has his own. I mean, he has his own series as well, right? He has his own spin-off. Those Moriarty mysteries. I mean, I bet you there are Irene Adler mysteries. I'm sure there are probably Mycroft Holmes.
There are Mycroft Holmes.
There you go. Yeah. You've got this. She wasn't in any of the books, of course. But this make-believe younger sister, the one that's on Netflix and stuff now. This
Enola Holmes. Yeah.
Hey,
and they're popular.
Spoiler alert, I guess, but I'm correct in that in the story, the final problem is when he kills off Holmes, and then all the stories of the return of Sherlock Holmes, like all the adventures, come after, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, Hound of the Baskervilles came in between that as kind of a, before he died, and then in the Adventure of the Empty House is when he actually resurrected Holmes.
Oh.
And then all the stories that follow that.
Oh, wait a second. Flashman did meet Sherlock Holmes. He was in the story of the Empty House.
Okay. This must be.
Flashman was in the Empty. He was an observer from the Empty House.
Wow. See?
I totally forgotten about that.
Not Doyle's intention, but somebody came after and said, okay, they've inserted him into the story, kind of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That's neat. I love that stuff, man. Honestly.
Where is this? Blah, 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 blah.
He's pulling an Alan.
Yeah.
Pulling an Alan.
He went off to get his ladder.
It's Flashman and the Tiger.
Here it is. I can't reach it.
I'm trying to find out which, because now
Flashman and the Tiger.
Pastiche Week. In addition to it, the Empty House story. Flashman and the Tiger. There he is. You can see him on the cover.
Yeah.
Oh man, I got to get that now. Damn it!
What nice covers you got. What publisher is that?
That is Anchor Books.
That's cool. I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. There's so much, man.
There is.
You
could have an entire Sherlockian library, really, couldn't you? I mean,
you really could. And when people say, "Oh, I can't figure out what to do for pastiche," there's so much out there. There's so much.
But that makes it harder. That makes it harder.
This until now,
Mm-hmm. But I think that makes it harder, Jim, because there's so much. You don't know where to begin, where to start. But
yeah, you can't see the forest for the trees, I guess.
Andrew says that Moriarty was even in Star Trek.
Oh God, yeah, I remember that. On the holodeck.
They created him as a super villain or whatever.
And Data was Sherlock Holmes.
Right.
Yeah. and again, he appeared in one story, and it was like Sherlock Holmes telling of his meeting with Moriarty, and just from that one story, look what's come of Moriarty. Just part of our culture and our nerd culture.
Well, I mean, it's a huge testament to Doyle, though, isn't it? Really, I mean, that's just.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, how amazing is that you just have some characters who are just passing. Some of them just passing references, and whoosh, they have their own series. Yes.
Yeah. I hope
someone said that Mrs. Hudson. I think someone in the comments last time said Mrs. Hudson even has her own series.
She does. She does. Yeah.
Does she really?
Yeah.
It's like Angela Lansbury, I imagine. Murder She Wrote.
Could be. And Lestrade has his own series of books, mysteries, Inspector Lestrade mysteries.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Yeah, it's amazing. So, stories. What are you going to read? Do you know, Greg?
I know I'm going to do Scandal in Bohemia, just because that's one of the most famous.
And of course, Irene Adler is in that one. So,
Of course. I know I'm doing Adventure of the Speckled Band.
mm-hmm.
I kind of want to do The Final Program and The Empty House.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, I want to get on with my 100 book reading challenge, and these really don't count against that. You know, unless I say I read 6 stories and I'm going to count that as a collection.
Mm.
You know, something like that. So those are the ones, but there's some other ones that I really want, because I downloaded all the ebooks. You know, I was mentioning that I have like a complete Sherlock Holmes is an ebook, but whoever it was the Delphi, whoever did the Delphi edition really did not pay a whole lot of attention. So if you read like in the first line of Bohemia, to Sherlock Holmes, she was always the woman. It's italicized. They just make the capitalized.
Oh.
Now, the reason why is because when it was first in public domain, it was plain text, and they did not have italics in plain text. So whoever designed it had to come up with a solution. And they said, we'll just make it capitals. And a lot of the public domain Sherlock Holmes is based on those old texts.
Oh boy. And it's a small thing, but it's frustrating.
It is.
And
the ones that I got from standard ebooks, they've gone in and they've actually corrected that. So they're actually very good ebook editions that pay a lot of attention, saying we want to make the text right.
The Delphi ones.
The Delphi was the one that just did not do it. Standard ebooks is no, they're totally available for free on the internet. If you
they are very good, except they're not very good when it comes to poetry or plays. At least they don't display properly. But books and things, they are good. Yeah, they're completely free. They're just another public domain provider like Project Gutenberg, and they do have some interesting stuff on there. So
yeah, they do.
Standard books, and then you have, for you, Jim, especially Faded Pages, which is the Canadian Project Gutenberg. It's got some great stuff on it as well. So
good, yeah.
I have, of course, the complete, but I'm gonna try something different because I got these English library
nice,
which has stories but not in the orders of the other collections.
Wow.
So I thought I would try them, but I'll probably, because I've got 3 of them, I'll probably just stick to one, save the others for another year, and I'll probably go for the one I've just dropped on the floor because I really like the 5 orange pips. So I'll probably go for that collection, and then I can tell you what's in it. Unfortunately, it's not all the stories. They've only got 3 out. Maybe I don't know why. So there's only, what is there? There's like 26, 30. I think there's only 40 odd stories between the 3 volumes.
I thought there was 56, 54
there's
stories.
56, yeah, but not in the English library thing that Penguin put out. They've only got 3. At least I think they've only got 3. Maybe I'm missing one.
I'll be right back.
Yeah. But this one has, the Speckled Band, Red-Headed League, Dancing Men, Final Problem, Empty House, Scandal in Bohemia, 5 Orange Pips, The Second Stain, The Adventure of the Devil's Foot, Priory School, Musgrave Ritual, and Reigate Squires. So,
how many pages is that?
This one is 335 pages.
You know, that's doable for me. If I just take that list and just go to the ebooks, I can count that as reading a book.
Sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll do it that way. because it had all the stories I mentioned. It had Scandal, Bohemia, Speckled Band, Final Program, Empty House, are the 4 that I really wanted to get.
Right.
Well, it's interesting. There's a thing in the back here which I've not actually looked at before, but it says "How I Made My List" by Arthur Conan Doyle. In 1927, the Strand magazine, in which The Hound of the Baskervilles was serialized and the Sherlock Holmes short stories were first published, ran a competition for Holmes fans, challenging them to name correctly the 12 Holmes stories Sir Arthur Conan Doyle considered the best. The £100 prize went to Mr. R.T. Newman, who chose 10 of the 12 Conan Doyle had selected. The following passage published in the Strand gives Conan Doyle's reasons behind his selection. Now, I won't read it on, but are you curious to know which Sherlock Holmes regarded as his best?
I think Jim has it in front of him.
That's this one. That's
there you go. Oh, wonderful. Okay.
It's got the ones that he chose, and then the editor chose the next date to make it an even 20.
Mm-hmm.
And that talks about those. I'll let you say what they were because he chose his favorite ones.
Nice collection.
Oh yeah, I just want to make sure I'm not repeating it here.
I don't think he had written all of his books at that point though, so maybe some of his later ones he would have changed his list. But
it seems that the favorite ones are actually the ones included in this volume. So it's the Speckled Band, the Red-Headed League, Dancing Men, Final Problem, Empty House, Scandal in Bohemia, 5 Orange Pips, Second Stain, Devil's Foot, Priory School, Musgrove Ritual, and Reigate Squires. So
yeah,
okay.
And it does have little illustrations in this one as well. So it's kind of cool. Even the little dancing men. So, yeah, but I need to see if there's another one out. Yeah, because it does annoy me that that they're not all in these little editions. So I'll have to find out if there is another one out. It could have been because the last book only entered the public domain a couple of years ago, right?
Yes.
So could be part of
I don't think I've read those. I don't think I've read those stories because my complete Sherlock Holmes at the time did not include them.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird, that whole public domain thing. Like you could only do. There was only certain stories. The earlier stories were in the public domain, and then if you did a story where Sherlock Holmes showed emotion, you'd get sued because apparently the story was that he didn't show emotion until the later stories, which is kind of bull because when you read Sign of the Four, there's a passage in it where Holmes and Watson are following the trail of Toby, and they go off on the wrong path, and once they realize where they've gone, they both laugh. Doyle says they both heartily laugh.
Right.
So I mean, even in the early stories, Holmes wasn't the logical thinking machine. He still had emotion, and he could laugh and show humor and appreciate humor. So I just thought that was a little not true, as what they said.
Yeah. And the whole public domain thing is it's such a nightmare.
It really is. It seems to be, doesn't it?
Well, it's all Disney's fault.
Oh, yeah.
They're the ones. This was happening in the early 2000s, somewhere around where Mickey Mouse was going out of going into public domain, and they went to Sonny Bono, who was a congressman, and got him to the Sonny Bono Copyright Extension Act, which got 25 years added to copyright in the United States.
Boy.
Yeah, out of California.
Disney just has to keep their grubby paws off things.
Well, they didn't do it this time. I think they had to finally just let Mickey Mouse go public domain.
Yeah.
Did Disney do a Holmes?
They did the mouse Basil of Baker Street.
Ah, that's right. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that was a Disney movie. Yeah, which was really good actually, and it you know, it paid tribute to the character of Sherlock Holmes, because they Sherlock Holmes and Watson appeared as characters, but they were like a silhouette on the wall or something, a shadow cast on the wall. And Basil was a mouse, and he had his little Watson character beside him. It was actually a really good movie when Disney was good and they told good stories. Not anymore.
We have a few comments. We should go to them quickly. We've got Libra Paradiso. Cumberbatch Holmes meets Gal Gadot Modesty Blaze would be great, but if only written by Modesty's creator Peter O'Donnell, which of course would be impossible. Dorothy says cool. Inspector Lestrade has his own murder series. Does he ever solve one?
Never read one.
The Mild Rumba says the last time I went home to Texas, I found a nice box set of the complete collection of Sherlock Holmes from Wilco Publishing House at Half Price Books. I put a few pictures up on your Instagram. Oh, I'll check that out. Fee's here. She says, "Hello, boys. Have any of you read Dressed to Kill? I watched the old Basil Rathbone movie a few months ago. So good. Have you seen Dressed to Kill? It rings a bell."
Well,
I've seen it. The Great Mouse Detective. Yeah.
There. When you say Dressed to Kill, I think of a Brian De Palma movie
with John Travolta
and Angie Dickinson.
Oh yeah,
yeah,
and
Michael Caine as well.
Michael Caine. That's one that one reminds me of.
Yeah, God, that's going back a ways too, eh? That's when we were kids or in high school.
I was in high school.
Yeah,
I was 20 days old, but I was alive. So,
but I have seen the Sherlock Holmes movie Dressed to Kill. Yeah,
it's one of the older Rathbone and Bruce.
Nigel Bruce, yeah. Which are good in their own way.
Oh, they're great fun. I mean, I know. Obviously, Bruce plays Watson as a bit of a buffoon, but I quite like him. And of course, their ages are wildly wrong. I mean, we always forget that Holmes and Watson are much younger than we imagine them to be as well, right? I mean, I think Watson's only 30 something, isn't he? Probably. They're both in their 30s, I think, when it starts.
And at first, I don't know. That's an interesting question.
Yeah.
Well, I think maybe Holmes was in his mid to late 20s at that point in The Study in Scarlet.
Well, let's see.
Maybe a little younger than Watson, because Watson had served in Afghanistan at that point.
Right. You could probably look it up on the
net.
Yeah, I remember looking it up when we did Michael Chabon's book. People put it as either January 6th, 1853 or 1854. And the first study in Scarlet.
1885?
1887. So I'm not very good at maths. I only teach English. So 1880, let's say 1883 to 1887 is 34. Okay. That makes sense.
Which is young.
Yeah.
But
it is.
And I hate like watching those movies. And when I first read Sherlock Holmes, I always pictured Watson as an older guy. And then once you read more, you realize, no, he's a young, vibrant man still, and not some bumbling old fool.
Sign of the Four, looking out to get married.
Yeah. I enjoyed Sign of the Four. It was a good book. And I love the character Watson, so I liked it especially more because of his character development in that. And Doyle at that point didn't know that he was going to carry on with these characters like he did. So maybe he just wanted to leave them in a good place, I guess.
I get it, because at least at the end of Sign of the Four, you get the idea that Watson's moving out. And he has moved out in a lot of the later stories, but I forgot what happened. Did he get divorced, or did she die, or?
She died. Yeah, she died. From, was it tuberculosis, or I forget exactly how she died, but yeah, she didn't last. But then there's the theory too that he married more than once as well, because Doyle wasn't real keen on writing down his dates and his timelines, and did Watson get wounded in the shoulder or the leg? He was always, so his timeline's rough. So
continuity issues, definitely.
Yeah. So some people take that and they say, well, no, Watson was married here and he was married here, but it can't be the same wife, so he must have been married more than once, kind of thing. That's what goes on out there.
Well, it's really interesting, very.
Yeah.
What's the only story where it is told from Holmes' point of view? I forget.
Where he's on Sussex Downs. He's an older guy. I forget the name of the story now.
Is that in the last collection?
I think so. I can't remember. I really can't remember. Oh, thank God for the internet.
Yeah, I should know it, but
The Adventure of the Blanche Soldier and The Adventure of the Lion's Mane, both in the final collection, they are narrated by Holmes. So there's two of them, yeah.
Yeah.
So they come from the case book of Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah. He doesn't have quite the flair that Watson had in telling a story.
Yeah, not quite. Not quite. Yes, he was, actually. He was. I'm doing an Alan.
Oh, yeah, both those stories are in volume 2.
Yep. You got the complete one.
Yeah. Hey, this might be a good time to ask you, or I think it was Greg. Who's the Dan Simmons novel that has Houdini in it?
The Fifth Heart, I believe, is the name.
Cool, thanks.
I mean, if you look at Dan Simmons, you'll find it easy enough.
Right.
What is that
Stephanie
you're holding up?
Stephanie says, wasn't Doyle a doctor himself? And I think he was. And I've got a collection here by him. Excuse me.
Nice.
Tales of Adventure and Medical Life. And so some of them are based, or stories based a little bit on his doctoral things, and just short stories related to medicine and that kind of thing. It's pretty good.
I wasn't aware of that. I'll have to look for that. He was a doctor on a whaling ship, which is amazing.
Yeah.
He led quite the life. Yeah.
Well, there was because I quite like this publisher called Alma. I think you can buy their books in North America. They're probably on Amazon or somewhere, but in the UK, you can buy directly from the publisher, and they put together little collections, and they're very reasonably priced. And this one, I don't know how clear it will be on here, comes with these 4 other books. So you get 5 books. And you have Tales of Terror and Mystery, The Lost World, Tales of Twilight and the Unseen, The Long Ago, and there's another one actually. So actually it's 7 books called The Mystery of the Kokoro or something like that, which is about something that happened in Africa with a load of tourists in the 19th century who get taken hostage. I have it by my bedside.
Yeah, I've got it here too. Yeah,
they are. They do really good deals like that. I don't know. They will send to me here in the Czech Republic, but I have to pay obviously for the shipping. Yeah, I have to pay but it's not too bad. It's like $20 or something like that for DHL, which in the end isn't terrible.
How many books do you get for those $20?
Well, it's a cent in the box,
right?
So you pay, I think I paid like £25 for the 6 books.
Okay.
Oh.
And then $20 or $25 for the shipping. But because it's 1 box, I remember he said to me well, you can add other stuff to it. So I probably in total for the shipping price, I probably had something like maybe 20 books sent.
Not bad.
Wow.
Maybe. Yeah.
nice.
We sorted out all the custom stuff and everything as well, so it was pretty good. I mean, it came within a week.
It's not bad.
But you can buy them, as I say, you can buy them individually. So if you shop at Amazon or someone, you type in Alma Classics, you can see everything they've got, and they tend to be cheaper, and they're just nicely done, and they're just nice little collections to have, and they feel nice as well.
Yeah.
So.
I'm going to look for that one. I wasn't aware of that one.
Yeah, I got into it because I read Mikhail Bulgakov's what is it, notes, Young Doctor's Notebook or something like that, and I read that with this back to back, and it was kind of interesting to do. So,
it's interesting. I have some books on my shelf too, where actually Arthur Conan Doyle is a protagonist in the stories. Like I have a book by Mark Frost called The List of Seven, and Arthur Conan, it's just a young Arthur Conan Doyle, and anybody out there who's looking for kind of a legacy kind of book, that's such a brilliant book. I've read that so many times. I have 3 copies on my shelf. My wife read it; she loved it. I've read it like 3 times. It's just a fascinating book.
It just reminds me of another series. I wonder if they have it on YouTube for people to watch, because it's quite old now. They might do. Maybe not. But I think it was called Murder Rooms. Yeah, they do have it. Yeah, perfect. You can find it on YouTube. And what it was the kind of the origins of Sherlock Holmes, and it was about Doyle's time at Medical University in Edinburgh, and his teacher, who was a surgeon, and he was a real person called Joseph Bell, and he was he did a lot of consulting, not really detection, but like in pathology, or for murder victims and things like this. But this has them imagining Bell running around solving the mysteries with the student Arthur Conan Doyle, who then, of course, takes Bell as his inspiration for Sherlock Holmes. And apparently, there is a little bit of the fact that Doyle did actually base a bit of Sherlock Holmes on this teacher, Joseph Bell, he knew. So
apparently he did, yeah. Joseph Bell used to do the deductions that Sherlock Holmes does. Like he'd bring a subject into the classroom, and he was a cork cutter or something like that. And Bell would, but Bell, he didn't know who this person was, but he deduce from deductions, looking at it, his cuffs and his shoes, and he'd do a Sherlock Holmes thing. That's what he would do, and that's who Doyle based Sherlock Holmes on to a certain extent. Yeah, fascinating character, a person apparently, a very smart man.
Yeah, well, as I say, it seems the series is on what you call it? It's on YouTube, so you can watch it.
I seem to remember that series from that.
It was really good.
Yeah.
Had Ian Richardson as Joseph Bell. If you
Ian Richardson. Yeah, I know exactly the one you're talking about, and he's perfect because he looks like Dr. Bell, doesn't he?
Does, yeah. What else we got? Sophie, Stephanie says very cool, and Dorothy says, which do you think is the least successful story? I nominate The Sussex Vampire. What do you think, gentlemen?
Oh boy, that's a good question. I don't know. I don't know.
Most of the stories once, so it's really hard for me to judge.
As per novels, I think Valley of Fear wasn't a real favorite of mine. I seem to remember, but as for the short stories, they all have something to commend them. But probably some of the later ones, there was his Last Bow, where Sherlock Holmes was set in World War I, and Sherlock Holmes was kind of a spy in World War I, and but that was an enjoyable story too. So I mean, it's really hard to say that any of them are bad. But I enjoyed The Sussex Vampire too. Yeah, and there was nothing supernatural about it. That's the story where Sherlock Holmes famously said, our feet are upon the ground, no ghosts need apply, kind of thing. I
always find that interesting, considering how Doyle ended up himself, how he does allow Holmes to be grounded in reality all the time, and the fact that the supernatural it doesn't ever enter into it. There's always there's a hint of it, like in the Baskervilles or whatever else, but it's always proven not to be true. And yet Doyle himself is running around cavorting with fairies.
Yeah.
and seances.
But don't forget that Arthur Conan Doyle kind of hated the character of Sherlock Holmes. And maybe he wanted to make him as least like himself as possible,
Well, I think if he's like anybody, he's like Watson, probably. I think that's how he would probably see himself, maybe.
I almost picture Watson like Arthur Conan Doyle. Yeah.
Well, he's writing the books, right? So, he is, I guess, and a doctor, so...
Yeah.
Bill said... Oh, sorry.
I can't wait to read... No, I was just going to say, I can't wait to read The Adventure of the Sussex Vampire. I'm going to add that to my... you guys certainly gave me a lot of,
I don't know if you use I don't know if you use Audible, Alan, but the Audible definitive unfortunately doesn't have all of them because again the copyright of the last stories. But the definitive Sherlock Holmes collection Audible is excellent. Stephen Fry does the.
Stephen Fry.
Oh, great!
Oh, good.
Really
two
good.
credits available.
Well, it's great value as well because it's like 67 hours or something of stuff. So.
You can't even download one book. I mean, they break it up into like 5 books because it's just so big.
Oh, wow. Thanks. Yeah, I have 2 credits available, as a matter of fact, right now.
Sorry, go ahead, Mark.
No, go on. He played.
I was going to say that Stephen Fry played Mycroft Holmes in the Robert Downey Jr. Sherlock Holmes movies.
That's right.
That's funny. God, yeah. He did a good job. He's a big Holmes fan, apparently.
Guy Ritchie directed. I like those.
Yeah.
He does for every collection. So like you've got the novels and then some of the short story collections in there. He's written his own essay introduction to them, which he tells you at the beginning, and they're very, very good. He does the same for P.G. Wodehouse collections. He's got 2 P.G. Wodehouse collections as well that he narrates, and he's also done a I've forgotten. Who's the blind detective?
Blind detective. I know of a private eye who's blind, but
no.
You're not thinking of Walter Mosley, doesn't he have a blind detective, that black writer, crime fiction?
Max Carados.
Carados.
To the Max Carados mysteries, but they're done by Ernest Brahma, and he does. What's his name? Stephen Fry does the narration for that as well, and it's brilliant. And you can definitely see parallels between Max Carados and Sherlock Holmes, but I suppose partly because Carados is blind, he has to rely on his manservant to kind of describe everything to him, and then he takes that information and is able to solve the mysteries. Yeah, they're quite good. It's a good collection.
That sounds fascinating, actually. It's kind of like Near Wolf, where he depends on Archie Goodwin to go out and investigate and bring everything. And Archie Goodwin can just say anything he hears verbatim. So he just comes back, talks to Near Wolf, and gives every conversation he had verbatim to Near Wolf, and that's how he solves the mysteries.
That sounds very, very familiar. I wonder if he kind of ripped him off a little bit there, because the manservant has like this is it indelible memory or photographic memory, and he can remember all sorts of things that he goes back and tells. But the funny thing is, like, Carados is like, he's also very finely attuned. So there are moments when he finds himself like with a gun and having to, like, be told where, kind of work out where the person is, because of course he won't let his manservant have the gun. That kind of thing. So it's like, but they are good, and Stephen Fry, of course, does a wonderful job doing them. So
like Stephen Fry, yeah,
doing. Okay. But where were we? Bill, yes. Bill, I have a book called Elementary Pascal: Learning to Program Your Computer in Pascal with Sherlock Holmes. Sherlock Holmes and Ada Lovelace team up. That's wonderful.
So I actually learned to program a little bit of Pascal back in the 80s. I don't know if I used that book or not, but I might have.
Libra Paradiso, something for you there, Jim. Nice Marvel omnibuses on your shelf. I don't know if you like Daredevil, but Daredevil Born Again Gallery Edition came out this week, and it's excellent.
I love Daredevil. I have Elektra Lives Again by Frank Miller here somewhere, right here. I'm actually a big fan of Daredevil, but I don't buy a lot of omnibuses and comics anymore. Like I kind of keep it strictly to Conan for the most part, because I mean that's primarily what I collect now in comics. I used to collect everything at one point, but it's too much now. But yeah, thank you for noticing. I wish I had more of them, but I mean, they're so expensive now. I've got the Savage Sword black and white books all here, not all of them. I've got 1 to 8 and then 19 to 22, and those are nice. So yeah, thank you for noticing that. I love those books.
Are there any good Sherlock Holmes novels?
Are there any? Sorry,
graphic novels
of Conan or? Oh no, yeah, Holmes. There is. There has been. I know, like over the years, I mean, DC did some Sherlock Holmes. There was another independent comic company that did Sherlock Holmes, and they've been collected in trade paperbacks. I don't have any of them because usually the art's not the greatest, and I mean, if the art's not good, it kind of throws me off. You know,
there's an indie bookstore here in my neighborhood. I go buy it on the bus like once, twice a week, and I have been for like over a year. So tempted to just get off the bus one day. I will when the weather gets better, and I'll just walk in and check it out. There used to be one in Chinatown here, but it closed down. Actual comic store,
Yeah, I mean, I love them, but I mean, when I go in, you end up spending money, which it's not a good idea.
Yeah, I was looking to get some for the kids. Yeah, like some of these Marvel ones. And I was surprised they're like £30 each, these omnibuses, and I was like, oh yeah, no, maybe not yet. So
the omnibuses are expensive. Like these Conan ones back here, over $100 to buy, and now, I mean, if you go try to get some of the older ones, the price just keeps going up because they don't keep making them, So yeah, they're expensive. They're nice to have, but honestly. Am I going to take one down off the shelf and read it? Not really, because they're so heavy and so ungainly. I mean, if I want to read the stories, I have these editions, just little trade paperbacks, and they're a lot easier to read than the omnibus. So that's just the collector mentality. I've got to have the omnibuses.
Are they sets of books directly behind you, or are they boxes with stuff?
These are
very top of shelves.
Where are you looking? Up here?
No. The other side of you. Like it's red and turquoise boxes right up behind you. Behind you have to spin around.
Oh, this way. Oh, sorry, this way. Yeah, those are milk crates, and they have comics in them.
Wow.
Comic books.
Oh yeah,
I've got like 50 of them.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I've been collecting comics since I was like, a kid. So I got quite a few of them, a little too damn much actually, but
nice.
They fit perfectly in milk crates, comics, and I've got these IKEA bookshelves and the milk crate just slides right in. So, it's perfect for storing them.
And do you have them as comics, or are they in plastic sheets and then put in the milk crate?
Well, most of them are bagged and boarded.
Yeah,
but I have a lot that aren't. That I eventually I'm going to have to get around to bagging and boarding them one of these days. But I'm not getting any younger, so I don't know if it's going to happen.
Let's go back to the comments here. Where are we? So, no, wait, The Sussex Vampire is better than The Adventure of the Creepy Man. Both were late stories published in the Case book, says Dorothy. The Sussex Vampire was the one where Holmes brought up the giant rat of Sumatra. Yes.
Oh, was that the one?
Andrew says Conan Doyle was like Agatha Christie in loathing his greatest creation. Interesting. Libra Paradiso, Electra Lives Again is fantastic, as is Electra Assassin.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Libra Paradiso, Robert E. Howard, one of our best writers here in Texas.
My absolute favorite writer. I'm like Michael K. Vaughan's my brother from another mother. You know, that's his favorite author. He's my favorite author. I mean, if it comes right down to it, I've got a lot of favorite authors. It's like choosing, a favorite child, but Robert E. Howard.
But has there been a Conan Sherlock team up?
No. Do we want that? Do we want it, really? Interesting.
He says, Mark, did you know Steve mentioned he can't watch any of your videos because of Elvis's squeaky toy? It drives Frida crazy. Yes, I saw that. But, bad luck. So I'm not kicking Elvis out to make videos. So if that's Frida's problem and Steve's problem, it's unfortunate. But, yeah, to be honest, though, Elvis always notices Frida's heavy breathing. I don't know if sometimes if you can hear her snoring on the couch. And he's like cocking his head. What is that? Yeah, so. But I'm not, I wouldn't say that to people, because I think it's necessarily good to say that, really. Especially, he has so many more followers, and then he says, I won't watch Mark's channel anymore because of Squeaky Toy. I'm like, that could, maybe people won't watch me now because Steve said so. It kind of upset me, but hey ho. France has been publishing standalone Conan, the Sumerian graphic novels, which are great.
And I think Blaze Comics in the States has been reprinting them and translating them. I've got a few of those too. I'm pretty sure those are the ones. Really well done. Yeah.
Says, good to see you use StreamYard again, less obtrusive. I agree. But I used the other one for my Patreon lives. It was just a test for Sean because I can have up to 12 participants on that one. And actually, last time we used it, the icon didn't flash. Libra Paradies. So same here, Jim. American, Mexican, and European comics. Modesty Blaze is one of my favorites.
I love the character Modesty Blaze. I've never read any of the comics, but I have some of the adaptations that Peter O'Donnell did in like novel form, and she's a great character. And there was a movie too, of course, back in the day.
What, Conan?
No, Modesty Blaze.
Oh, Modesty Blaze.
Yeah, I think that's who she was, or they were referring to.
Yes, yeah. Modesty Blaze, one of my favorites. Yeah, that's what I could see there. I don't know anything really about comics. I always want to, but I just, I had a few as a kid, of course, but mostly I read the not the like disposable comics, but ones that actually you bought like books. So Tintin, Asterix, Lucky Luke, we mentioned before, but they weren't ones that you would like, buy from the newsstand. You actually kind of bought them in the bookshops. Yeah. So
I don't really pay much attention to comics either. I did get it was Marvel collection of the monster comics. Mm-hmm. I don't know if any of you remember those monster, always giant monsters and I think it was on Michael K. Vaughan was doing, and I mentioned that all the giant monsters have flesh-colored underwear.
I had a lot of comics.
Whatever color their flesh is, it's like if they're a green monster, they're wearing green underwear.
Yeah, but it has to go as an art, color. I had a lot of comics as a kid. I remember Superman would like cost 5 cents, and I had them in plastic. I think I went away to school and my mom sold them, for a quarter or something. Along with my Hardy Boys collection, I had a whole, the blue cover Hardy Boy, all of them.
Yeah, Hardy Boys. I remember I used to read the library all the time, and I'd take out 5 or 6 Hardy Boys books, go read them, take them back, and get the next ones. Yeah.
I remember I had a first edition of Howard the Duck. Was a big deal. It came out like in the 80s or 90s. And that's worth a lot of money, supposedly, I guess. But
yeah, I'm not too sure. Of course, they have to be in really good shape, to be really worth any kind of money. You got to be in perfect shape, and not all comics are worth money. You know, if it's a first printing, or if it's got some character that's popular, you know, maybe it's like a market now. It like fluctuates, right?
Oh,
Comic books.
sure. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I
I
guess
had baseball
printing
cards
errors
too.
can make them.
What, Mark? I'm sorry.
Sorry. I guess printing errors can make things valuable as well, right? So if you
Yeah,
have a
double
run where
cover.
there's a mistake or something, then people want to get a hold of that. So
Yeah.
Remember,
But
I had
don't know.
like I had
Go
a
on,
first edition of when like for example, the Kiss comic book came out and they put their own blood into the ink,
Yeah.
and I had it in plastic. I'm just saying, I had a lot of comic books like that they would have been worth, and they would have been. Well, you know, can't read the future like that, but
That was
the
the big.
comic books I used to have, you guys probably never heard of, which are things like in England they were the Beano and the Dandy.
Beano comics. Dandy, yeah.
Yeah, you
I
used
got
to
a
get
couple of them. I got
Yeah.
some of them here somewhere. Yeah. Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, the Eagle comics. The old Eagle comics were British, right? Where they had that. What was the character's name? Frank Dare. Yeah.
Oh.
And then there was they had a great World War II comic as well. I think it was Commando or something, or I can't remember, but they were great, absolutely great.
I think Ollie just featured some of them on his channel, the Commando comics.
Yeah. We mentioned them when we did BookTube at War. So, I was just joking around, Dorothy. I don't think it had any effect, of course. And it was, I know Steve, of course, he's only joking around. Well, thank you, Stephanie. Yes, it's not too bad. He doesn't squeak all the time. Here we go. Warren Magazine. It's a putty cat.
Bella.
That's Bella.
The fluffy cat.
Where's Poe?
Poe is he's out with my wife. I guess he's out in the living room. He's got a little house that he lays in, so I'm sure that's where he is.
You haven't called it the House of Usher, have you?
Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. I will do that from now on.
I'd make you a sign that said the House of Usher, and you could put on the house.
That's awesome. See?
Yeah, you don't know that, Alan, but we were talking because Jim's got this cat with one of these dodgy mustaches, and it was a choice between Hitler or Poe or Charlie Chaplin, and he went with Poe. So.
Oh, nice. Yeah, nice. I love animals.
Because actually, it's another thing you two have in common. It's funny, isn't it? Because Randy with his music has something in common there with Alan, and you, Jim, of course, with the art. Alan's also an artist, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I'd like to see more of your stuff, Alan. You should make an Instagram page and put some of your art up on there.
Yeah. Well, thanks. Although I'm like basically retired and have all the time in the world, I don't seem to have time for Instagram or like X.
Yeah.
I remember years ago I was on Snapchat. I guess it's not the same thing as Instagram, but I guess if I wanted to like promote my channel and put more effort into it, I would. And instead of putting up my little dumb like I won't call them dumb, but you know, like my music or art videos, I'd have a place to put them. But
yeah, I mean, I'm on so many different social media sites. I gotta trim some of them down. I think,
Facebook. I post like art on Facebook, and I sold a few things over Christmas on Facebook. Like I did charcoal Jesus.
Oh, that's
awesome. I sold about 6 of them, and then I gave the rest away. And
yeah,
you look like a Bond villain there, Greg.
Yeah, he does.
Welcome to my land.
She's being very patient and just sitting in my arms.
Yeah.
He just looks massive, though. She just looks like a really big cat.
Not like
one of those lynxes
fluffy.
Or something. Just fluffy.
She's not huge, but the biggest one of the 4 now. like that. We took a picture of Teddy with me. We were playing cards, and I got along with Teddy the best of the cats. He just scooted up on the table right in front of me, and I put my cards on top of him, and Greg took a picture, and and Teddy looks huge, but it's like the angle of it.
Yeah.
It's just the squeak. Yes. Warren magazine in the 70s dominated the market with eerie, vampire, creepy, the spirit, great era in the medium.
Yeah.
I remember Vampirella for sure.
Actually, Libra Paradiso, do you have a channel, or do you just comment? I'm not sure. It could be interesting to see if you have all these.
Yeah,
things.
they were good magazines.
Steve Gerber, brilliant with Howard the Duck. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, you remember Howard the Duck? I had like a first edition of that in plastic, but it's like saying, "Oh yeah, I remember I could have invested in Amazon." No.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Kiss Blood magazine. Yeah, I'm not saying it'd be worth thousands, but I had a Kiss Blood magazine in plastic, and yeah, probably.
Yeah, they mixed their blood in with the ink.
Because
apparently.
Back then, yeah, I knew it'd be worth something someday, so I'm sure I bought like 2 or 3 of them.
It was before the HIV days, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Eagle Comics. Yeah. Eagle Comics introduced Judge Dredd to us in the early 80s. Great
I love
Brian Boland's work. Yeah.
I love Brian Boland's work. Yeah, what an awesome artist. I've got Camelot 3000, the 12-issue miniseries he did, just brilliant. And of course the Batman story, the Joker story. Why can I not remember the name of this title? But yeah, what a brilliant artist he was or is. Love his work.
And Fee says yes to more cats, please. So
it's up to them to come see me.
Yeah.
Well, I think we'll call it time. Oh, hang on. Sorry. Just one more comment here. Elvis looks like my dog Maggie. She's a rescue about 10 years old that I adopted in August. Nobody knows what kind of dog she is. What kind is Elvis? Well, Dorothy, nobody believes me, but he is a border collie. And, his brothers and sisters are the black and white standard type, but he was like the runt of the litter and everything. And actually, there were 2 of them, ended up this different color. But yeah, he's a border collie, though he's quite small. He's still smaller than his mum. She lives also in the town. They don't get on as well, which is weird because she rejected him as a baby. Yeah, she rejected him as a baby, wouldn't let him feed with her and everything. Wow. And so actually because my friend who I got it from, she had a baby of her own at the time. So he actually grew up at first few days on human milk. Yeah. Not obviously suckled to the breast, of course, but through the pump or whatever and the bottled milk. But yeah, no, his mum wouldn't let him anywhere near him. And sometimes they meet and she growls at him. And he just kind of walks away from her like he doesn't care. Or, yeah, pretty much. Yeah, so
up yours, Mom.
It's kind of sad, really, isn't it? But
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll end the stream here. We'll be back probably on Friday. Well, definitely on Friday, unless there's some dramatic change. We've got a special guest joining us. It will be a Holmes pastiche author, real life published one. Who's kindly agreed to join us from the UK, and he gets good accolades and things from the Sherlock Holmes Society in London. Sorry, Jim.
Can I show one of his books, or are we keeping that a secret?
No, I mean, why not show one of his books here? So further notes from the dispatch box of John H. Watson, MD, 4 Untold Sherlock Holmes. 4 Untold Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, as discussed by Hugh Ashton. So that's
Hugh Ashton, and he's also had some short stories written in the MX Sherlock Holmes books. He's had a few of his stories published in them as well. So I figured I wanted to get at least one of his books before we talk to him next week, which I'm looking forward to.
I have one of his novels on Kindle that I picked up years and years and years ago, like Gray something.
Mm-hmm.
I never read it. It was like available for 99 cents or free, and I just grabbed it. But
well, I'm sure he'll be able to tell us about it, and I think
Yeah.
he'll probably be able to give us some good
Mhm.
good info regarding that. So I would invite you, if any of you are going to join us on Friday who are watching now, to maybe think of some questions you could ask somebody who is, at least we can consider, an expert, I suppose, of some sort in the field of Sherlock Holmes, and of course you guys as well.
Okay.
Great. And Randy,
All right.
Some
we can
homework.
good questions for him. Yeah. So I'll end the stream, and obviously we'll chat a little bit in the green room before Greg pops out. I just want to quickly go to the last comments here. Thanks for the live stream. Very welcome, Andrew. Hi, Maria. Hello from Tenerife. Hello from the Czech Republic. And,
Hello.
Libra Paradiso has a comic book channel, Gorvidol Comics, and Libra Paradiso is my book channel. So there you go. We can check that out.
Check it out.
Nice. I will check it out.
Thanks for all the info. I'm going to have to watch when the video is published and take notes.
Yeah.
Well,
Yes.
Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Well, yes, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody. Do take care, and we shall see you again on this coming Friday. All the best. Bye bye.